Hey there! Welcome back to Pulled In to Letting Go. I'm Mandy Torado. I'm not even going to try to pretend it's not the same day that I filmed my last video in. Um, it's a few hours later. And I got to thinking about something from my last video. And it was something I didn't really explain very well. Um, I was talking a lot about. Get off my screen. Okay. Um, I was talking a lot about setting goals for the new year and what my goals are and how I go about setting them and achieving them. One thing I didn't talk about that I got to thinking about, and I'm like, um, well, there was a couple of things I didn't hit on there. So, one of them was not thinking enough about what is realistic for your life. Um, I remember one year I had these really great goals. I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to get my degree. I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to move and then buy a house in another city. And I had all these little goals around the house that I wanted to do. It was rental at the time, own now. Um, and I had like a bunch of lofty stuff that I wanted to do, but they weren't realistic. It was too much. I was overcommitting myself. They were not realistic. They were not doable at all. And Simba, no. My cat's trying to get in my closet. Um, they were not realistic, and I completely burned out. You have to consider what's already going on in your life right now. What are your current commitments? What are the things that you have to do? And how much time is each goal going to take to accomplish? So you want to set yourself up for, for success. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. And when we're planning, we want to make sure that we either already have the materials in place, already have the money in place, already have the support in place. You know what I'm talking about? To do these things. And also we have to be flexible because things can change. Like last year, we had planned to get a new roof last year, but we couldn't because my husband lost his job and we were playing catch up. We had planned to get completely out of debt last year, but we couldn't because my husband lost his job. It just was never going to happen last year. Um, but I did accomplish some other really great things, so I'm flexible. Um, so Proverbs 21:5, English Standard Version. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. That is not to say that you were in poverty because you were hasty. That's simply saying that you need to be diligent about making your plans. You need to plan for your plans, plan for your goals. And they're more likely to happen. But if you just plow into them without really planning, without having anything in place, they're probably not going to happen for you. You don't just fall into success generally. I mean, okay, it happens sometimes, but it's pretty rare. Okay. Um, Proverbs 16:3, English Standard Version. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. So when I made these goals, I made a lot of them with God, and some of them, we'll see if they work out because I just wrote them down because they sounded good and they were things I wanted to do. Um, hey, I'm a social experiment, I guess. But anyway, yeah, you do want to commit your plans to the Lord. Oh my goodness, I'm going to take a big one here. Okay. I'm going to go back in time almost 17 years to when my husband and I had gotten back together. Um, there was a time in our relationship when we were separated before we were married. We got back together, and 8 days later, we were engaged. And he was fully committed to me. And in my mind, my flighty mind, I was very, very, very flighty back then because I had been hurt so badly, didn't want to trust anybody. I got married thinking, oh yeah, marriage is cool. It'll last 5 to 10 years. We'll give it a go. um, yeah, right? Um, when I finally committed my marriage to the Lord, it stopped being rocky. It stopped being difficult. I committed my marriage to the Lord. I committed myself to the Lord. And I committed my heart to the Lord. And when I did that, things in my life started changing in a really drastic, dramatic way. Not always like outwardly for everyone else, but for me, I sure saw it. I sure saw it. My whole marriage just became so much smoother. My husband and I stopped fighting so much because we were just at each other's throats all the time. We were just miserable. We were making each other miserable. And people kept asking us, why are you married? Why don't you get divorced? And I'm like, because we have kids and I love him. And they're like, really? Because you don't act like it. And I began committing myself more and more in my marriage, more and more to God, and asking God, give me what I need to be a good wife. Give me what I need to be close with you, God. Give me a hunger and a thirst for your word. And I was praying more, and I was going to church more, and I was doing Bible studies on my own. I had a prayer partner and an accountability partner that I was checking in with. And things just kept rolling and becoming smoother. And it was just like, whoa, there's something really to this. When I recommitted last year, myself to my marriage and to God, and I noticed that my mental health was really lacking, and I committed my mental health to the Lord, and the next thing I knew, my toxic family was like gone. I like just cut them out. I I knew that I needed to do that, and I did. I did it. It was amazing. It's been amazing. And rather than, these crazy ups and downs, I mean, yeah, I've had some ups and downs, but it's not been, up, down, up, down, up, down, crazy like that. It's been like, smooth sailing, get some bad news, have a down, come back up, level out, get some more bad news, go down, come back up, because God's always there with me, carrying me. And so the same can be said for setting goals in our lives and committing them to God. You know, when we set a goal, yeah, we're going to have ups and downs, and that's okay. We're going to have days where we don't quite meet the goal, where maybe we can't. I've had days where, in fact, last month, I had a day where two of my kids were sick and stayed home from school. We have one car in my family. My husband works full time. So, and I needed the car because I thought that maybe one of my boys might have to go to the urgent care. So I had to drive my husband to work very early in the morning, take care of sick kids all day. Then I had to go pick up my daughter early from school. Then I had to bring her home. I had to make dinner for everybody. And I had a very short amount of time. And then I had to go to I wanted to, but I went to her concert in the evening. And then after that, we had to rush and pick up her dad. And I mean, it was just go, go, go and take care of people all day long. I did not accomplish a single goal that day other than keep everybody alive and happy and relatively healthy and out of the hospital. Like, that was literally all I could do. And that's okay. That's life. We're going to have days like that. Or one day, a few years back, my husband was just having a terrible, terrible day. And he happened to be off work that day. And I was like, okay, it's summertime, the kids are out of school. We're not sitting around the house. We're leaving. We're going to go spend the day in nature. And I'm putting all our goals, all our housework, everything other than, making a picnic meal and grabbing snacks. Everything other than that is on the back burner. And we're taking care of your mental health today. And we ended up going to a mountaintop, doing a great hike, having a picnic, taking pictures, playing. Had a wonderful time. Those days are going to happen too. Those days, it's more important to take care of yourself and your family than work towards meeting a goal. Family, God, first, right? And health, all that stuff it comes first. Be realistic. Make sure that you're not planning a goal for every single day of the year. Like, don't plan 365 days. On January 1st, I'm going to do this. On May 3rd, I'm going to do this. On April 12th, I'm going to do this. Stop. Don't keep yourself so busy that you don't have time to live. The point of goals is to improve your life in many different ways. And you get to decide what you need to do. Maybe you don't need to declutter. Maybe you don't need to save more money. Maybe you're somebody who sits around with a pile of money in the bank and you're unfulfilled because you're not leaving your house to do stuff and have a life. Maybe you need to make a plan to go to the movies or go for a walk or go shopping with your girlfriends once a month. Maybe that's your goal. I don't know. You know. You do you. You figure out your goals. But like I stated in my last video, do not pile on too much. Okay, don't pile on too much. You can't go back to school, start a new job, save $1,000 in a month, and solve world hunger. Like, you can't do all of that. It's too much. Start small and build up. Okay, and then be really ready to give yourself grace on the days when you mess up. You're going to mess up. It's okay. It's okay. And as I was thinking about my goals for the year, again, they haven't changed, but I was thinking, what if God has, what if I have this perfect picture of how things are going to look in my mind? But what if God has a slightly better plan that's just a little bit different than how I think that it's going to come out? I need to be ready for that. I need to be ready for that. What if my husband ends up getting a higher paying job and we're able to save more than $50 a month? Great. What if he loses his job and for a couple of months we don't have that $50 a month to put away? Then I'm going to have to be flexible, aren't I? Going to have to be flexible. What if we get a really great deal on a bunch of materials for the projects that we're doing, and I'm able to go above and beyond on my goals? What if I'm able to, instead of just fencing in the yards, what if I'm able to fence in the whole property, but maybe I have to use slightly different materials? Okay, I need to be flexible. What if, I don't know, what if somebody gives me a bunch of materials, or if I find them for free on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or something, and I'm able to expand the catio? Cool. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Or, what if with all of these health goals that I've put out for myself, what if I end up starting losing weight and I lose a couple pounds a week? Cool. I'll be flexible with that. That's cool. I'm happy for that. God has He knows. He knows the whole year ahead of us. And what if God just says, you know what? This year, your plans are really great, and I'm going to help you accomplish them. But what if I want you to do something different? What if I want you to work on your pride? Or maybe I need to work on your confidence. Or maybe I'm going to throw a job into your lap. Work from home job. Well, then I'm going to have to be flexible, aren't I? I don't know exactly how the year's going to go. Maybe I'm going to veer off the map a little bit and then come back on. I don't know. But at least I have an idea of the things that are important to me and the things that I'm going to actively work towards. And I'm going to be flexible about that. And I'm going to give myself grace as I go towards it. That doesn't mean I'm going to give up. These are good things that I've written down. These are good things that I plan to do. Some of them are quite necessary, like get a new roof. And maybe that's all I can accomplish financially. Maybe that's it. Maybe my roof is worse than we thought it was, and it's going to take a few thousand more dollars. And so that means my other financial goals have to go. Well, then I'm going to have to be flexible, aren't I? So, the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. Proverbs 16:9. Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. Maybe we do get our roof replaced, and in the meantime, we end up sharing the gospel with one of the roofers and bring them to Christ. That would be super excellent. Gonna have to be flexible, aren't I? There's gonna be a lot of surprises along the way. Maybe we end up getting a new garage door or tearing down our carport instead, because maybe that just has to happen for some reason. I don't know, but I'm flexible. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to not plan for anything. I don't want to be completely surprised by the year and go walk through it aimlessly, feeling like I'm walking through a bowl of jello with no purpose. Proverbs 6:6-8 reminds us, "Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest." She's a planner, isn't she? She plans ahead, looks towards the future, works for the future before it gets there. And I bet that ant is very grateful when it comes time for the cold, cold winter that she already gathered her food, that she planted it, that she harvested it, that she preserved it, and she'll be eating plentiful through the cold months when food is not as easy to come by. Our economy is getting worse, friends. It is. It's just getting worse. And food prices are going up, and the cost of gasoline is fluctuating. Politics they're not stable. They're just not. Healthcare, the cost of healthcare is going up. It's just uncertain times. And we have to plan. We have to do what we can to carry as much of our burden as we can. Yes, we still need a support system, but that support system isn't supposed to do everything for us. Within what God has already given us, the wisdom and the power and the strength and the knowledge, we're supposed to start providing and doing for ourselves. That's what we're called to do. And we have our Heavenly Father, the Holy Spirit, Jesus. We have all of that available to us to guide us and to help us. Just like I share the scriptures with you every time I come on here. Every time I write a blog, I'm sharing wisdom. All right. It is time for me to go check in on my little guy. One of my teens is about ready to get home from school, and I've got a podiatry appointment coming up this afternoon. So I love you, but more importantly, God loves you. Have a great day and be blessed.